Hola muchachos, ¿qué tal? Buenas tardes. Aquí tienes el horario para hoy, jueves, el 16 de septiembre. You guys didn't have any homework due for today. Just study for your quiz, which for the A-Day classes is Monday, and B-Day classes is Tuesday. Your warm-up for today is a continuation of what we were doing last class, talking about things that are allowed and not allowed in your classes. So for today's warm-up, create a T-chart very similar to that of what you did in your notes last class, and identify 3 activities that you would allow and 3 activities that you would not allow in your ideal class. So, en mi clase ideal se permite jugar videojuegos, hablar con amigos, comer, beber, escuchar música, tocar música, anything you want. It's your ideal class, right? And then, what are 3 things that you would not allow? Se prohíbe hacer tareas. Se prohíbe estudiar mucho. Se prohíbe leer. Se prohíbe escribir. Se prohíbe dibujar or pintar, bailar. 3 things that you would prefer not to do and therefore not allow in your classes. And they got to be verbs, as you can tell. Verbs in the infinitive. All right, we're going to review the study guide for your Chapter 1 quiz. This, again, is due or will be taken next week on Monday and Tuesday. We'll go over all the answers to these, the 3 parts to a verb, define the term conjugate, the characteristics of a cognate in 3 examples, present tense conjugations, and then a review of what we've gone over for the past week and a half. Again, expressions of what's allowed and not allowed in your classes, matching your classes according to the description of what you do, what you bring to that class, and things that can be found, and then talking about your class schedule on both A and B days. Just want to refer to where you can find the answers to these in Canvas. The PowerPoint and page 9 is where you can find a good portion of the answers. If you go into modules and then go to the Para Empezar module, there's a page there that says Gramática Repaso, present tense of regular verbs. And then if you take a look at the PowerPoint that's posted there, it will provide you with the 3 parts to a verb in Spanish, which is the infinitive, the ending, and the stem or root. It'll also go through what it means to conjugate. That process of conjugating is changing the infinitive to match the correct person and number, so you indicate who's doing the action of the verb. And then it gives a variety of examples of conjugating regular AR verbs. All right, so that PowerPoint would be a good place to start if you're kind of lost in terms of the very beginning of the study guide. Also, page 9 in the textbook gives a summary of everything that's really in the PowerPoint, just not as fleshed out, more of a kind of a brief overview of everything that's in the PowerPoint. And that, again, is on page 9 of your textbook. You have the definition there of conjugates highlighted there. And then you have conjugations for AR, ER, and IR verbs, the endings that we use for each. So as you go through the study guide, you can refer to the PowerPoint and page 9. These other concepts, you can look at your notes from the past week and a half. We've been looking at these in isolation the past couple weeks or so. So that's your study guide. What we're going to do today are 2 in-class activities. The first activity is called present tense conjugations and key terms concepts. So what you're going to do is you're going to knock these out on a notebook piece of paper so that you have available to study off of. You'll take a picture when it's completed and you'll upload it here in Canvas. So for the conjugations and key terms concepts, you're going to conjugate these example AR, ER, and IR verbs, and really it's just everything that's on page 9. I mean, you could literally just copy over everything that's here. But try to do it without your notes and see if you can conjugate correctly the verb hablar, the verb comer, and the verb vivir in the different forms. Yo hablo, tú hablas, y usted habla. Nosotros hablamos y ustedes hablan. ¿Cierto? Conjugate those verbs and then also provide what they mean in English. In the spaces provided there. In your own words, define what an infinitive is. For example, these are examples of infinitives. But in your own words, what's an infinitive? And what does it mean to conjugate? It's your first handout. Again, jot it down in your notebooks and then submit it into Canvas and then use it to do the second worksheet, which is called Present Tense Conjugation Worksheet. For this one, you don't necessarily need to write out the full. Actually, I'd really appreciate it if you'd write out the full sentence. They're not very long. Makes it easier for me to grade if you write it out in a full, complete sentence. And just fill in the blank with the correct conjugation, right? So use that first handout. You actually have the answers there to that first handout right there. Use that first handout to complete the second. Conjugate mandar in the yo form. Yo mando un correo. Conjugate hablar in the él, ella, usted form. Since you're talking about the teacher. El profesor habla mucho hoy. Conjugate bailar in the ellos form. Ellos bailan salsa. Part A is AR verbs only. Part B is a mixture of AR, ER, and IR verbs. So remember not to mix up those endings. Your endings for AR, ER, and IR verbs. So submit both of those into Canvas. That's what we'll be working on today in class. And then any time remaining, we should probably have about at least 15, maybe 20 minutes, as we did last class, to study for your quiz. That is your only homework. Get ready for game day. Game day next week, Monday the 20th and Tuesday the 21st. That is your agenda for today, jueves, el 16 de septiembre. Hasta luego, muchachos. Chao.